better about these transitions. It's been a while. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our book club. Woo-hoo. We are back. Well, it hasn't been a while since we've been back, since we've been reading a whole book.
A whole month. We're back with our book club. It's for the book of May, which was
our birthday month.
Our birthday, Taurus season. I'm glad my mom died, by Jennette McCurdy, and it was a memoir by former child actor Jennette McCurdy. You might know her from iCarly. She was Sam Puckett, and then Sam Puckett on Sam and Cat on Nickelodeon. Maybe you grew up watching her. I think I was a little older to see it. However, I had a younger sister, so
she would watch it.
I would watch it, so I know what iCarly was.
I didn't get into iCarly.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's because the screen did not refresh, but it's okay. It's recording. I'm just making sure. Yeah, I didn't really watch iCarly. It wasn't until recently that I actually saw an episode of it, because I had done
the reboot or the other one.
I had gotten Paramount, so I was like, let me watch the original, and then I started watching the reboot. The reboot was all right. Mm-hmm. It's like just like them as adults doing the same kind of thing.
But it's a little bit more like
mature,
adulted, right?
Yeah,
okay, that's good.
It's
I
mature. But yes, this is the book of May. Let me read the synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Jennette McCurdy was 6 years old when she had her first acting audition. Her mother's dream was for her only daughter to become a star, and Jennette would do anything to make her mother happy. So she went along with what mom called calorie restriction, eating little and weighing herself 5 times a day. She endured intensive at-home makeovers like mom chided. I actually don't know what that word is. Your eyelashes are invisible, okay? You think Dakota Fanning doesn't tint hers? She was even showered by mom until age 16 and was also forced to share her diaries, email, and her entire income. And I'm glad my mom died. Jennette recounts all of this in an unflinching detail, just as she chronicles what happens when the dream finally comes true. Cast in a Nickelodeon series called iCarly, she is thrust into fame, though mom is ecstatic, emailing fan club moderators and getting on a first-name basis with the paparazzi. Hi, Gail. Jennette is riddled with anxiety, shame, and self-loathing, which manifests into her eating disorder, addiction, and a series of unhealthy relationships. These issues only get worse when soon after taking the lead in the iCarly spinoff Sam and Cat alongside Ariana Grande, her mom dies of cancer. Finally, after discovering therapy and quitting acting, Jennette embarks on recovery and decides for the first time in her life what she really wants. Told with refreshing candor and dark humor, I'm Glad My Mom Died is an inspiring story of resilience, independence, and the joy of shampooing your own hair. And just really quickly, I'm going to put out a trigger warning because this deals with very deep things related to, as I mentioned, eating disorders, with abuse, and a whole lot of things. So that is the book.
So, first we start off our book club with a little rating of what you thought about it, and including your rating for the book, the title of it. What did you think about that? So I think, I always forget, 1 through 5 or 1 through 10?
1 through 5.
1 through 5. I would say a 4.4 maybe?
A 4.4.
4.4. I thought it was very well written. Mm-hmm. I thought it was very, well, let me tell you this. I did the audiobook. So I think I enjoyed it a lot because it was her voice, and it was just her very much being an actress on there and voicing people, and very, the pauses, the emphasis were there. I thought towards the end it was very rushed.
Yes.
Just like I would have loved more about her relationship, like the whole, like at the end she throws out the whole like physical examinations that her mom did, which she didn't. We knew she bathed her, we knew she was with her all the time,
we knew she would do her breast exams, but we learned literally on like some of the last pages that her mom would also do vaginal exams of her aside from the breast exams to check for cancer, because for reference her mom had cancer. Was it melanoma?
It was, no, I think it...
Leukemia? I forgot what.
It was a tumor.
Oh, no. It was a specific name because she was like, oh, I already know my mom's like typical spiel about her cancer. But yes, her mom did have cancer, so that's why she would always check her. Or that was her reasoning for always checking her.
I think the realization, the acceptance that she was abused, I think I would have liked a little bit more. And then how do you not forgive, but interact with your siblings who were probably either not.
That's what I was thinking. Like which I understand. We never really heard her explain her siblings and their relationship with the mother. But then again, maybe they didn't want that part.
Yeah, and I get it. It's not her story to tell, but I think it must have been a decent relationship for her. I know they're still in her life and stuff like that. So I think I would have liked to
know more about her family.
I think I would have liked a little more on when she does decide to quit, and Sam and Cat ends. She tells her managers that she's taking a break, but really that decision, like, what else can you do? I'm pretty sure she had comfortable money to kind of make that decision on, like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm good. Like, was money ever an issue, or what is it a conversation? But let's start off with our question. Oh wait, you.
Yeah.
With your rating.
I struggled with. So reading it was very hard for me to do because honestly, with things like memoirs, I'm kind of getting the picture that audiobooks are the best bet. Like Harry's audiobook, you hear it from his voice. Jennette, it was so much fun to hear her explain her story. Like, I can't, like, it's not gonna be as funny in my head as is her saying it. So if you're gonna be reading it, I 1,000% recommend the audiobook. Man, I feel bad giving bad ratings to memoirs because it's your life. How am I gonna judge you? But 3.5 because I feel like there were so many more questions I had. Yeah. And she's barely 30 years old. So it's like your life is still unwritten. Yeah. But I feel like there was so much detail she could have gone into, but I'm like, that makes me question whether some stuff was asked to be excluded.
I think so.
Because it would make sense, her discussion about the creator and everything. I would have loved to hear her talk about it, especially if she didn't take the money. Tell the whole world, seriously.
I think that, and then obviously her co-starring with Ariana, she was very vocal about being jealous of her, and a lot of it was internal. And but I would have loved to had more details about how was you talked about all the stuff that made you upset about her was stuff that her contract was better. They let her leave set to go do other side projects. She was getting more popular, even though that really didn't bother her. But that was what she talked about, that she was on the cover of some Teen Boppy magazine, and Ariana was on the cover of Elle magazine. Yeah. That comparison. But how was it when you guys did scenes together? Was she cordial? Was she rude?
What was your actual interpersonal relationship with her? Was she cold to you? She just kind of glazed through a lot of things, I felt. And I'm like, it's your story. You can choose how you tell it. Yeah. But that is obviously going to be the natural reaction. I think I read something about how obviously people want to know more about Dan Schneider. Obviously, there's those rumors out there that Dan Schneider, who's the creator of so many Nickelodeon shows like iCarly,
Drake and Josh, Amanda Show.
Yeah, that he was sexually abusing these child stars and that he had his favorites. And that, she kind of goes into the fact that one day she was approached about, getting $300,000 to not speak about Dan Schneider.
Or her experience
working on iCarly, because he was very verbally abusive to young actors, 9-year-olds. Give me a break. I would have loved to have known her actual experience with him, because
and throughout the whole book she never names him, but she's the creator. Yeah. But we all know who the creator of all these shows is. He's known for that. And whether she didn't want it to become a legal issue or that becomes the story in itself.
Okay, I was like, where was I going with this? She said that she didn't want that to take away from what she was actually trying to talk about, which was obviously shedding light on her eating disorder and her abuse and her relationship with her mom, which is obviously the name of the book.
Yes. So did you like the title?
I didn't like the title personally. Honestly, like even like saying it out loud, I felt like I was being I felt bad having that book on my coffee table on Mother's Day, dude, because it's just like I couldn't take it to my parents. So I was like, let me read this book really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm glad my mom died, but I think she did an interview with somebody where like explained the title. This isn't verbatim, but she was like, I don't mean it like that. I think and I'm just speaking off of me, it probably signifies this is the end of a chapter, and like I finally realized what that chapter was, and I'm relieved.
And it's also attention grabby.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Are you kidding me? Like, everyone was like, what? And then you kind of read it, and you're like, well, yeah. There was a lot of stress in that relationship. So going to your first question, do you feel like Jennette's mom, Deborah, was a narcissist?
Explain to me the definition of a narcissist, because I know what it is in my mind.
Sandoval.
Okay, Tom Sandoval.
You just think about yourself. You just position. I don't even know how to, like, I could give you examples of people's, but I don't even know, like,
the exact definition of it, because my thought with Deborah is obviously
mental health was an issue.
She isn't selfish because she's wants her child to succeed, but it's for her own selfish reasons. So I guess you can say she's narcissistic because it's to benefit herself.
Okay, so I didn't know narcissistic personality disorder is a thing. So it's a mental health condition in which people have unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need to seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others.
Then I guess in that kind of context, she wasn't thinking about Jennette or whether Jennette wanted to be an actress. It was like, I'm gonna make you an actress so that way you have a better life than me.
You think that?
Was that not said in the book, or am I watching that in something else?
No. That's what she said. Like, you need to be an actress because I want you to. But I think she's just like, you're going to be an actress because that was my dream and I'm going to live through you.
But that's narcissistic.
Yes.
Because it's
so I do think the mother was like that. I think because even with the whole cancer thing, like
using that as her green card or her parking.
Yeah, anything. It was her like go-to. Her relationship in church. Like, we are church people, but then once she was famous, it's like, we don't really have to go because we're good.
Yeah.
Her relationship with just like even the paparazzi thing, like it was just weird. I don't know. Obviously, the clips or the small parts of when Jennette speaks to her grandma, it seems that it runs in the family.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it was probably some mental health thing that was passed on in the family, and it seemed that the grandpa was also very not complicit, but like he just didn't do anything, and
he just allowed it to happen.
He just allowed it, and then the dad also was like that. So it was just like a cycle of people, of these women struggling with some kind of mental illness, and their partners not being there, or even suffering probably their own stuff, and just not
even realizing that it is, because honestly, like right now reading it, it's a mental disorder.
Yes.
Like, I don't think there's a lot of thought into it. I think people are just like, oh, you're narcissistic because you're just all about yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are you?
Yeah, it's like something. I think we all have or people who have the disorder have different reasons for that validation and that need for admiration. Second question was, there were many red flags of abuse throughout the book. Which one stood out the most to you? I think the eating disorder one, when she got her period. No, or when she started getting
she started getting boobs.
When she started getting boobs, she kind of went to her mom like, what happened? She's like, oh, well, you're becoming a woman. She's like, but I don't want to grow up. She's like, oh, let me teach you. And she's like, you're going to stop eating. I'm like,
her mom taught her that.
Like, that's is so
sad.
And then her mom having to shower her. When she said something like, oh, and she showered me, I was 16. I would like, excuse me, what?
And like her brother too, he would still, they would shower together.
And her brother was 16 and she was like way younger. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but a 16-year-old has like.
Sorry, it's a scam.
Oh. It's her, like a 16-year-old boy, fully puberty. Like.
And you're showering with your, like, they knew. And so you, like, you know, you obviously grow up in a household, you live like this your whole life. Like, oh, it's normal for my mom to check me. Oh, it's normal for this and that. But they knew in that moment it's not okay for us to be looking at each other while we're showering as teenagers. Like, it's obviously wrong. And it's just, for me, the most disturbing are, abuse, you mean, right?
Like, which
Could
abuse?
it be abuse to herself?
Yeah.
I think
anything that stood out.
So shocking to me is her bulimia. Like, that was just so...
That was a big turn.
That was so hard to listen to. Just like, you know, the part where she was like, throwing up in the airport bathroom in the airplane. And she was like, a tooth came out because of how much I do it. Like, I was just so in disbelief at how bad. And I think really, obviously, the ending that was the most shocking, which I was surprised that and we already mentioned it, the fact that her mom would do vaginal exams of her as well. Like, what? Go take her to a doctor if you think you want her to get exams. Like, what in your mind makes you think that's okay?
And it's like, there is a point where, because that is your normal, you think everyone else's unit, but not talking about it, there's something inside of you that's probably like,
everyone has an intuition in them when something's right and wrong, fight or flight. And I mean, she loved her mom so much that she just, you know, looked past it.
That's also another, like, she would do anything for her mom, even like when she was little and she wanted to change ice cream flavors, and the mom's like, what? And she knew. She's like, no, this is gonna turn into something bigger. I'm just gonna say that,
stick to the ice cream that my mom thinks I like.
That's just like, like, it gave me the chills. And then I'm not sure if we go into this, but her relation, it's just so interesting that someone that's struggling is attracting people that also is struggling, because her struggle isn't public. Like, people don't know what she's going through. It's just so, I don't know, it's like irony that who she ends up with, it also has their stuff. Like, she's 18 and dating a 30-year-old who's just like bumming off of her and like takes her virginity.
Her virginity,
and then she dates,
or was it the second?
Oh no,
it was the other guy, the one where she was like, I wanted to have sex with him, and then I just woke up and he was already having sex with me.
Yes. The 30-year-old, she just like gave him oral sex. That's how she kept him, the Hawaii guy.
But the mom's reaction to that, you're a slut, like, whore.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember when those pictures came out, and it was like the first time where I'm like, oh, like, snap, this. I remember seeing them and being like, oh, like, she's older, like, okay, like, cool, like, she's, because it was that era of like Miley and Demi and Selena.
So what's so crazy to me is that in her mind, like, getting boobs, becoming a woman is so jarring to me. When I was younger and the guys started seeing her develop, they're like, damn, Jennette McCurdy's so hot. Oh my God, like, where has she been? And in her mind, she's like, no. Like, you have to realize how beautiful you are.
And those Hawaii pictures, she's wearing a bikini top, but she's wearing board shorts the whole time because she thought she was ugly and that
she didn't want anybody to see her ass.
Yeah, and I was just like, are you kidding me?
You're beautiful.
If I could be 18 again, you know,
right?
Like, it's just
but then again, this guy, a 30-year-old man, worked on the set of iCarly. This Jennette McCurdy has been on that show, since she was 13? He was one of the production people. Like, what is wrong with you? What is, like, my gosh.
Like, it's and then, that was intense. Like, her mom seeing the paparazzi pictures, and then I could only imagine her stomach just probably fell to the ground.
Yeah.
But then she dated
a schizophrenic.
Yeah. He thought he was God.
Yeah.
Or Jesus. I don't know which one it was.
I think it was Jesus.
Oh,
reincarnation of Jesus or
something like that. And it's just like, poor girl can't catch a break. Like,
yeah. And
I mean that as in, like, she needs time to heal herself, and now she has this person that she has to look over. And, you know, she says in the book that she had to get a handle of her disordered eating before she could deal with the rest. How did you respond to McCurdy's therapy journey, and what did you think of that very first therapist? The hugging, the insistence of being Jennette's plus one to industry events. Was this a helpful approach, or did it smack a little too much on her mother's wannabe syndrome?
It was I understood, like, you know, obviously you go through these therapy sessions. Jennette tells you, oh, my way of de-stressing before stressful events is by putting my finger down my throat. And even when I'm at these stressful events, I think in her mind, it was like, I want to prevent her from having to do that. So I'm going to be there to support her. But you don't realize the kind of person that you're helping, though. Like, your client isn't the kind of person who likes this kind of affection, who likes this kind of, like, watchfulness. But then again, it kind of just depends on, like, what level of therapy and what level of that therapist you want to be as involved in your life.
Because that therapist was also / a life coach.
Yeah.
So I get the whole, like, being next to you, but it's like, you're either my therapist or my life coach. I don't think it could be both, because I feel your life coach should be there to motivate you and be like, go to therapy. And then your therapist should be like, okay, get a life coach, but we need to make sure this life coach is good for it's a fit for you. So I don't think it was a good idea for it to be the same person, because this lady was just like,
I honestly think her eating disorder, coach was way better, because he knew
the guy with the journal.
Yeah, he knew how to not handle her, but he knew the ways to get through to her. And I'm like, you should have been her therapist, because his approach was more effective on her than this very hands-on approach. It's like, I'll let you do what you do, but I'm gonna, you know, get an idea of who you are.
I need to know who you are first before I start diagnosing you and doing all this stuff. I also think it brings in a good light with maybe anyone that's trying to get therapy or go into that. Just because the first therapist you don't like doesn't mean you stop. Like, get a new one until you find, it's like dating someone, you know, the therapist is. So obviously she had to, like, go through some bad ones.
That one was too hands-on. Maybe somebody that isn't. It's the person who's literally doing, what is it called when they know how to get something out of you. It's not manipulative, but it's like when you just know what's effective, you know how to get something from them if you do a certain action. Like
calculative,
I guess. I just think her eating disorder coach had the right approach on how to help her.
Yeah. And I think I'm pretty sure she continues into therapy and all that stuff. And then the one that therapist at the end that kind of is like, you were abusive, like your mom was abusive towards you, like that's a lot to handle. Well, in interviews, McCurdy frequently deflects questions about the hush money offer from Nickelodeon that we read in the book. She felt that it's the headline grabbers, but that focusing on it too much distracts from her primary narrative. If so, then why do you think she included it, and would you have taken the money?
Oh, remember when I said I think I read it was this question?
Yeah.
I am glad that she didn't take the money.
I think, first of all, because she's probably making more money off of the book,
but also to be so young and recognize the fact that it's hush money.
Yeah, because you know that, and it's also this. First of all, they should have at least offered her $1 million, because you don't get residuals with Nickelodeon shows.
I thought that it was going to be a situation where she said no, and they're going to come back with a bigger offer and be like, we'll give you $1 million.
Especially knowing the creator's behavior, you would be like, we need to protect this. And I'm glad she didn't sign it, because she owed them nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if it was the best experience, I'd be like, I owe you no sense of peace of mind by taking this money, because a lot of the reason she stayed acting was to get her hands into directing, and
they screwed her over. And they waited like, oh, you're going to be directing the last episodes, and then she never got to direct, and that probably could have helped her out in you know, continuing in the entertainment industry, but not as an actress, but as a director. I think she would have been great. But unfortunately, she didn't get the experience that she probably needed. I just want to know who that that person was that refused to. But that's what it's just like, we need context as to why Ariana Grande would refuse to be directed by you.
Yeah.
If it is her, like saying it is her.
Okay,
but,
it
like,
has
it's,
to be.
like,
Let me
has
tell
to
you.
be
So let me
her.
tell the viewers why I think it's her. So Jennette McCurdy basically has said, you get to direct 2 episodes out of the season, and she is waiting for her turn. And then finally, when those episodes are approaching, she's not listed as director, so she goes to the producers, and the producer said, basically, we were told that if we let you direct, someone would quit the show. The only person that would quit the show
enough
is the other person whose name is on the title of the show, which would have been Ariana Grande. Like, are you kidding me? A secondary
yeah, like the person who plays, I don't know, whoever, you all are gonna care about what they want.
The
over
only other
lead.
person maybe, but the creator. Why would the creator quit a network that has fostered and nurtured his behavior? Like, that's your safe spot.
And if he was a part of the negotiations, he probably knew that she wanted to direct it and was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Always get stuff in writing, guys.
But yeah, I want to know why Ariana Grande wouldn't want Jennette McCurdy to be directing her. Obviously, they're younger, so it's like they were probably competing with each other. But it's like, if you have such a successful music career going that way, why don't you let the girl just direct an episode?
Yeah.
Why is it so bad? But
because then she kind of becomes her boss, you know, in a way.
Yeah.
And whether, I mean, maybe she could have just directed the one where Ariana was in the box.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
But let's see. The next question is, oh, wait, would you have taken the money?
No.
Me either.
Absolutely not.
Are there any child actors that you're aware of that have not gone through horrible childhood situations?
Zendaya.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, I can't really think of anybody, but then right now I was like,
I guess Miley Cyrus. Yeah, she had a rebellion, but like any teenager, I think her mom was with her the whole time, so I don't think she was like taken advantage of that I know of or anything like that. And I think a lot of her issue was identity issues, where I don't want to be known as Hannah Montana, but now that she's past that, she has always spoken very highly of her experience, very thankful and grateful. Where we know Demi was on drugs a majority of the time.
Selena Gomez was going mental health issues. Britney,
Hilary Duff.
Hilary Duff, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Hilary Duff, and I guess you can the guy who played, you know, that movie Hilary Duff did with the Agent Cody Banks?
Oh, yeah. Frankie
Muniz. I don't think he's
a NASCAR driver now.
Oh, okay.
He's actually pretty good. Or maybe Indy 500. I don't know.
But I never really heard much from that guy.
Well, he did Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Oh, wait. Maybe. I could be lying, but I think maybe his parents took some money.
Oh.
But I could be lying.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of child actors, it's either some form of abuse or their parents taking money from them and being shitty.
So were you surprised to learn of Jennette's personal health that she experienced as a child? Yes, I very much so. Like how I said, I remember seeing those Hawaii pictures and being like, oh, look, there's Sam Puckett. She's all grown up going to Hawaii with a boyfriend. Would never thought this woman just got outed, that she's on vacation, that she was hiding from her mother and receiving horrible abusive emails calling her a whore and a slut by her mother. Like, no. And then I remember watching her on iCarly and being like, oh, she's so funny and she's so like petite and skinny.
Never realizing that she was that
literally
skinny because of her eating disorder.
Yeah,
she's starving herself, weighing herself every day. Like,
what did you think about her and Miranda's relationship?
I was actually surprised that they did have a relationship. I feel like in my mind they probably never got along, but they did get along, and I feel like that is the only celebrity friend she's probably ever had. I thought the relationship was, when it was at its height, and was cute. I remember that the one part of the book that really kind of made me laugh out loud was, and it was during a dark place where her and Miranda are hanging out, and she gets a call about her mom. And she's on her way over there, and they had just hung out. They watched that movie with Amanda Seyfried. Oh, yeah. And she's, like, finishing the call, and Miranda's like, oh, by the way, you pronounce her name Seyfried. And it's just, like, kind of like that awkward, like, joke, but I'm like, that's their friendship.
Yeah.
Like, which I appreciated. And then in the end, when she's like, yeah, Miranda called me, I knew what she was calling about. Like,
I kind of got a little sad when she's like, we haven't talked in a while, like we drifted apart, but at least when she answered the phone to talk about the reboot of iCarly, it wasn't like awkward. They just like, I think they were in each other's life.
But
again.
It's also kind of sad because she was like, you know, in her mind, like doing this reboot, or the way that she explained is like doing this reboot, we're going to be able to get back in like more roles and stuff like that. And Jennette's kind of like, she doesn't realize that it's like going to keep you in that box of what people identify you as, and it's just like not even going to let you grow.
Which I think it was kind of mean to say that, just because like they're all excited to embark this, and it's just like, I don't think they probably had that big of an issue. I don't think they were that miserable. Like, I'm just assuming here, but for Miranda, maybe, and the other ones, maybe they enjoyed their time. Like, they're just happy to be actors.
It's like,
they're just
experience.
working. They're happy to be working actors and being on set and playing.
Even if it is a role that they are going to be stuck to as far as recognition for the rest of their life, if it's something that they're willing to do, it's what they want to do. It was very judgmental on her part, but then again, like, her experience, and I feel like maybe they didn't really know the depths. I know she said that Miranda knew about her eating disorder
after a while,
but like, I doubt the rest of the cast. And I know the older brother, he recently was like, oh yeah, I read her book, I devoured it, she's such a great writer, like I knew she was going to do a great job, etc.,
and maybe this is that's the other thing. It's like, you don't want to be an actress, like who do you care if people
do a reboot?
Maybe in the future they could just have her for an episode, just, you know, to check in. I think that'd be cute. Like, why not?
I feel like she's seriously opposed to acting in any sort of fashion.
I wonder what she's gonna do now. Like, is she gonna continue being a writer, like a novel?
I feel like she does like comedy
writing,
maybe,
or like acting.
Because I was looking at her Instagram and it looked like she was doing, like, I don't know if she was doing in-person readings of her book or comedy shows.
Probably in person. Okay, I'm gonna skip number 7.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, maybe. Okay, number 8.
A good one, yeah.
Would you let your child/children become child actors?
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't?
Absolutely not.
But, like, what do you, like, child? Ooh, define child. Like
I would say like a toddler going into adult.
No, maybe like 16 and above, maybe, if they want.
I don't know. I just feel like...
But I'd have to be there this whole time.
When I was young, I wanted to be a child star so badly. Thank God to my parents for never putting me in that position, because honestly, like, the way this industry is, the fetish people have with kids, man, it's so sad and upsetting. Like, in what's her name, in Brooke Shields' documentary, where she was like, she pointed out something interesting. It was, I think, in the 50s with the whole Marilyn Monroe, when women started taking their bodies into their own possession, men lost that over them, so they went to the next thing they could possess, which is children and preteens, and that's what they prey on now, because what child is going to fight them on anything? And that's just so sad to me, that child stars get so picked on by this industry and have such a terrible life. Like, and
they don't have, there's not a lot of protection for them.
No, there isn't.
There's a lot of former child actors that are now very active in, like, getting bills and actual legal, like, working out. Like, you can't have a sweatshop with children, but you can make them act 24 hours a day. How is that not child abuse as well? Having, like, when they said the creator would yell at children, like they would rehearse with children so much. And there was this other thing. It's just like little things. Like, if there's gonna be children on set, we have to, like, make sure there's no, like, child predators registered. Like, it's stuff like that I don't think there's actual. This industry does not take care of children whatsoever. So, and until that industry changes, my child will never be. And if that child doesn't have protective parents that just want parents that want to make money off of them, like, I just want to make money off of my kids. Like, no, I would let them, like, 16 to, like, almost 18. Like, they could be in theater. Yeah. But I don't think I'd go take my kid auditioning, like, as a 4-year-old. Yeah. No, like, no. It's sad. And I know that there's just a lot of conversation about the future of child acting, but, like,
you can't just eliminate it because there are roles that need children. But I don't know. They just really need to reconsider all that because people in Hollywood are messed up.
Yeah, truly. Let's see. Let's go to 10. What are your feelings about her grandparents and their relationship with Jennette and the rest of the family? I think it's just a cycle of, unfortunately, the woman in the relationship is this toxic person, mental health issues, possessive, and their partner is just a pushover guy that just doesn't really speak up. And that was her grandma, and that was her mother, and that was her grandfather, and that was her father, which we find out wasn't even her real dad.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I hope her and her real dad have a good relationship. But like, when that scene where like he brings the kids in or brings her in and she's like, what's going on? Like, I'm not your dad. Like
that's just like, why were you there?
Exactly.
Which makes
why were
me
you
think
a part
there's
of her life?
Because you had a horrible wife who treated you so badly, put you down, and then you knew that the three or four kids
weren't even yours.
Like, are
why
you
go through
okay?
That? Yeah.
Like, are you? And now it makes me think, I don't think he's also okay. Like,
and it makes sense why he just left them because they're not his kids. But like,
it was weird though that he started dating the best friend, right? Like the mom's best friend.
Oh yeah, because didn't she say it looked like her or acted like her?
Like it always, they were like kind of always in competition.
Okay, it makes sense. Maybe he needs a possessive woman. But yeah, the grandparents. I appreciated how brutally honest she was in this book, especially because, like, obviously, grandparents, we all think, you know,
adorable,
who doesn't
cute,
love their
nurturing
grandparents? But, like, she's like, no, my grandma was a narcissistic bee. She was rude. She didn't care. She just wanted money, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think this number 11, with many referring to as the broken system of foster children, do you believe she would have been better off as a foster child versus being raised by her mother? I couldn't say. It's so hard. It is so hard to even say.
Because
if
the foster system is just another cycle of abuse of children. There are terrible caretakers of children who are just there to make a buck off of them and treat them like garbage. At least in this setting, I mean, there's no way to justify even this setting.
It's just so hard.
She would have been screwed on either end. It's just like in this setting, she has siblings that she can.
And she got
with.
to work and have money and have money as an adult. But this is just so hard. It's like it's the lottery, really, if you were ever to get good foster parents. And what are your feelings about her father and his lack of speaking up? It was very frustrating for me. I think so, because he obviously knows it's wrong. He himself is a victim of abuse through, domestic abuse, because the wife just treats him so poorly. And, you kind of question the whole book, like, how can a father just let his kids, like, live there and not just be like, stop it. Like, I'm taking the kids. You're treating them poorly. And then you kind of find out that they're not his kids, but then it's still kind of like, well, you chose to be a parental figure, so that's not really an excuse, like, in my
even his
opinion.
wife was like, he's still your dad. But where was he my entire life then, when he was supposed to be my dad?
It's just, what do you think?
I just think I don't know. There's just some men in this world who just are submissive in that way, where they just would rather continue going through the motions and actually like address something.
Yeah.
Do I think he should have been there more? Absolutely. I think he should have told them sooner. And the fact that the mom never even told her on their deathbed, like, by the way, he's not your dad.
No, because she would never, a narcissist, she would never tear down that image that she worked on. I'm so perfect for my kids' eyes. I will never let that happen. But it is just, and yeah, the father frustrated me a lot. And last question, is it okay, in your opinion, to feel happy with someone has died?
I think it depends. Like,
I don't think the word is happy, because I think that would just be so horrible to be, find joy off of someone's dying. I think relief.
Yeah.
And a sense of peace, maybe, that someone that doesn't really
wasn't
add
a positive impact on your life is gone.
I don't think she's happy a life was lost. I think she's glad that she doesn't have to deal with it.
The cycle is over. Mm-hmm. The cycle of abuse is over.
Yeah, I definitely. So yeah, it was an interesting book. It was an intense book, like as we said in the beginning, a lot of triggers in this book, especially if you either suffer from abuse, from eating disorders, and I guess kind of like those toxic relationships. It was a lot, and I don't know. It's just like, I felt bad for her because it was just like not usually, but like you think someone's like, well, they have one trauma to deal with. It was like thing after
another. Yeah.
It was.
I'm just happy to see that she didn't take her own life because like obviously like she had.
Did she say anything about being suicidal?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Like she had enough ammunition in other people's eyes. It's enough. For her,
to like trigger depression
but she pulled through it. She used her bad habits to get her through things. Her bulimia, like that honestly was the most alarming to me. Like she was like, I threw up even if I was bleeding out of my mouth. Yeah. Like I needed that sense of control. Because I don't understand it, like how that can bring control to you. Like I don't know. It was just, that was hard to read.
Yeah. I listened to it, but
all
even
her explaining it,
it was hard.
I wonder how hard for her it was to like read it out loud, that kind of way. I don't know. Brave girl. I'm glad that she can hopefully, she looks happier than ever. She still is extremely thin, but she said that she's building healthier relationships with food. She put that in an Instagram post. So I'm glad to see that because...
Yeah. I don't know how true it is for everyone, but I've read that, it's... Even if you've recovered or you had like an eating disorder, it's an ongoing thing.
Oh, yeah. You're always in recovery. You're always in recovery, that stuff. Especially since it's been like her entire life. And it wasn't something that she chose for herself. It's something that her mother conditioned her to become.
Yeah, that's don't even get me started with that. That's so crazy because I think there is a difference when it's like, oh, if I develop an eating disorder because of like my own experience of like self-image, it's like I know it's bad, but it's because I want this, this outcome to look pretty or too skinny. But for her, her mom was just like, just don't eat. Like that's how you remain small. For her, it's like, oh, that's what everyone does.
Like we all went through puberty being like, whoa, like I want this to stop, I'm still a kid. But our mothers weren't like, oh, you want to be a kid forever? Here, just stop eating or
so you
put
stay
your
small.
fingers down your throat and watch what you eat every day.
Yeah.
Like no, like we all grow up, we all have gone through that fear, but it's like you need somebody positive to tell you it's okay, like you're gonna be fine, not somebody enabling the situation.
And especially if it's the woman you love and it's like the love of her life. She would literally describe her mother as a love of her life. But
and also like it's just very telling that like I think it was even the beginning where it's like, oh yeah, I told my mom that I have lost I don't know how many pounds and she still wouldn't wake up from her coma. Like she thinks that like because that's all her mom cared about was for her to be thin and perfect. And yeah, interesting book.
But so if you're into memoirs and just really want to kind of see a child star's perspective, even if you like, you'd just be shocked that someone went through that. That is, I'm glad. My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. You could find it, in all your bookstores. You could also find the audiobook.
Recently, she announced that it has been, I think it was like last week, been on the New York Times bestseller list for 40 weeks. So she's still going strong with her book sales, and I'm glad to see it. Good for her. But yes, our book for June.
Yes,
I do not have the book because I forgot to bring my wallet, so I couldn't buy it. But it is called Romantic Comedy. And it is by...
I didn't.
Sorry. Let me go to the chat really quick.
Let's see. Who is it by?
So
Romantic?
guys.
That's not... Oh, no.
Oh, no. I didn't put the name of the author.
It gave me... Romantic.
If it, like, get romantic comedy movies.
Yes, that's exactly what I got.
Comedy book. Okay, so it is by Curtis Sittenfeld. I do not know how to pronounce his last name. It's Sittenfeld. Romantic comedy, a novel. It is on Reese's book club list. And really quickly, just so you can get the right one, I'm going to just tell you all the synopsis really quickly because I want to make sure that you have the correct book. It's basically about a comedy writer and she falls in love with a pop star or something like that. Sorry, I couldn't find the description, but that's what it is, guys.
Sounds like my memoir.
Yeah.
Just kidding. All right. Well, thanks for tuning into another book club. Just keep on reading, y'all.
Sorry, guys. I never prepare that early enough.